Hi, I'm Rasheed Ogunlaru. I'm a coach, I'm a speaker, I'm an author, I'm also a singer-songwriter. So that's the thing that many people don't know about me, who know me through the coaching, through the training and all the rest of it, and that I'm also a singer-songwriter. And actually what many people also don't know is that long before the coaching career was music. It was music that I wanted to do and pursue after my very, very first career in media and in communications. It was music that I wanted to do. I wanted to become a very, very successful singer, and I'd always had an interest in personal development. And bit by bit, it was actually the music that led me into training and to coaching, because I wanted to help other creatives in terms of their careers, and then gradually that took the lead. But this documentary is not about me as a coach. It's not about me in the media. It is about me as a singer-songwriter, and it's specifically about my latest album, Learn to Love. It's about the album, it's about the songs, it's about the stories behind the songs, it's about the inspiration, it's about me as a creative. And why documentary? Because I love documentaries, and I love devouring documentaries about creatives, about artists, about singers, about performers, about actors, and athletes and so on. I find them inspiring, I find them insightful, I find them illuminating, I find them empowering, I find them educational, I find them a powerful doorway into them and their world and their work. But also they do shine a light, and they invite me to reflect on me and my own journey as a creative, as an artist, as a speaker, and all the different hats that I wear, and as a human being in the world. So what I hope with this documentary is it will give you a little bit more of an insight into me as a creative, and perhaps also me as the speaker and the coach. I suspect that the coach hat isn't going to be a million miles away here. And I guess that there is a link, isn't there, between our own journeys and our own and music and so on, and our own development. So there are things that we can learn from each of those. But I really hope that this is going to give you a little bit more insight into the music and help you perhaps discover some of my music. And I hope also that whether you're creative or whether you're somebody who knows me through my other work, I hope that you find something here that's energizing, empowering, and inspiring for you. It certainly, this journey has been for me. So let's dive straight in. So to understand the album, Learn to Love, we need to go back a little in time. We need to go back a little in time to 2020 to 2022. And for those of you who remember that time, and for some of you may not be able to forget that time, it was the time of the COVID pandemic. It was an incredibly challenging time where many of us couldn't go out the door, couldn't leave our homes for long periods of time. It was very challenging in so many ways. And like many people, I was at home for long periods of time. One of the benefits for me, one of the good things about that, meant that I did have time with my keyboards that would always be at home, always be by the side of my desk, my table. But I'd normally not spend time on it, but this time I spent time on it, practicing with it, getting used to it. And as a consequence, many of the songs from this album were written on the piano. In fact, most of the songs were written on the keyboards. And that's in stark contrast to most of my other work, where how I would write, it would be that I'd often be going about my business, going down the street, going for a walk and so on, and a little bit of a melody would come into my head. And I'd capture that first idea on my phone, so I'd capture it and then begin to work on it bit by bit. This time it was different because I was working on that material, and then gradually, bit by bit, as things began to open up, I was able to go into the studio and begin to work on that with John Hamilton, my long-term producer, who I'm a huge fan of, multi-instrumentalist. He's a great guy, hugely talented. When you listen to the album, much of the instrumentation will be John playing the piano. Sometimes it's me and so on. If it's more kind of simple piano, it may well be me. If it's more elaborate piano, it's him. And if it's guitar, it's definitely not me. It's him. And by that time, actually, he'd moved from his studio that he had, prior to lockdown, like many people, to working from home. So his home studio set up, so we were able to work on the album. But the other thing that made this album quite different to our previous albums, and for example, the album before it, which is The Awakening. The Awakening was a song that interestingly was written prior to lockdown but came out in 2020. Was an album going from very much personal, the me, and kind of crises, personal stuff of the human being, through to awakening. So it's a journey of awakening. And it's got titles such as Letting Go, Appreciation, bring love back and so on. It's on that journey, and it talks about the world around us, all sorts of different themes that it covers in that particular album. But this album, I wanted to do something very different. I wanted to write a song that was far more intimate, far more personal. I wanted it to have that intimacy, that closeness, and maybe that's also partly linked to the time of COVID, that kind of intimacy, and where people are thinking about life and love and the gift of life. Perhaps the one other thing that's worth saying before we explore all the songs one by one is that when we put this album together, I didn't want to, with this album, unlike the one before, The Awakening, where there's lots of videos and lots of my stuff, there's lots of videos, I didn't want to have visual representations. I just wanted to put the album out there so people could hear the work on its own merits, which of course is important. But as we went through working on the album, and I spent all the time on the album and put it out there, I realised that some of the songs could have that. And then what's different about this album, as opposed to many of the albums, is that many of the videos on this album I also directed. So where are the videos to this album? In fact, I've directed all the videos on this, sometimes with the help of my friend Martin, who's done many of my videos in the past. But in this case, all the videos that are directed by me. So where there are videos, I'll put those in for you to enjoy as well. But let's dive in and explore the songs one by one. Okay, so let's start off by talking about Learn to Love. I looked outside the door, a world that didn't know me anymore. I wonder if there's time to iron out my life. So that's how it begins. And I thought I loved you, did I love you, thought I loved you, did I love you, thought I loved you, did I love you, so I must learn to love. So, you know, this is probably the most personal song on the album, and it starts off this journey of this character who's just kind of reflecting on life. But actually, let's go back a little bit. The very, very first line, I looked outside the door, a world that didn't know me anymore. That is a direct speaking about COVID, you know, in a way, or that kind of scenario where you've spent so much time in a particular situation. In that case, you know, actually in a house, and you look outside the door, and then you wonder, is the world that doesn't know me anymore? It's about that kind of, almost that kind of fear of going back into the world again. And there's a lovely, I guess, fact that has in common with, can happen with, I guess, at different stages and different relationships. You go back into the world. Does the world recognise you anymore? I kind of like that, and I like there's a melodrama in that. But it's a very honest song about this character, like wanting to learn to love. I must learn to love. I must learn to love. And there's a line where it goes, to love, through the experiencing of love itself, to learn to love. When this song came along to me, I knew that this was going to be the start of the album. You know, sometimes you have songs that come to you, and then at some points where you know you want to put together a collection of songs. But when this song came along, I knew that this was the start of the album. And then other songs came along. This inspired, in many ways, the rest of the album. I think I had about one or two of the songs on the album, which we'll come on to, that I had written prior to Learn to Love. But when Learn to Love came about, that was the birthplace of the entire album. And then when we went into the studio and worked on it, myself and John. And so I'd been playing this at home, and then John just played it really, really beautifully, and it's him on the piano that you'll hear rather than my own piano of Learn to Love. And it came very, very naturally. The whole process came along really, really quite easily and naturally. It's starting to rain here now, so I'm going to protect the camera in this way. There's a real kind of sync that we have, and when we work together now, this is our 5th album, I'm working on it together, so we've got a really good working relationship, which is amazing. Has it stopped raining now? Yes, I think it has stopped raining for a moment. I think we're okay. But then recording-wise, it was quite easy. I put down the main vocals, and I put down the backing vocals, and it was very, very easy. It's one of the easiest and one of the most natural times of putting down the vocals ever. And what I look for when I'm, as a listener, as an artist also, is when I listen to a track at the end, I'm like, okay, do I believe it? Do I believe the song? Do I believe the singer? Do I believe them? do I believe them? Do I believe this person? And my feeling was, yeah, I do believe this character who's singing this song. So that's Learn to Love. Let's check out a little bit of the video, shall we?
I looked outside the door, a world that doesn't know me anymore. I wonder if there's time to iron out my life. And I thought I loved you, did I love you? Thought I loved you, did I know you? Thought I loved you, wish I loved you so. I must learn to love. I must learn to love, to love. I finally seen the light. Illusions and delusions of the mind.
So the second song on the album is called Where Are You, My Lover? Where are you, my lover, for the clock is running down? Where are you, my lover, for the time is running out? And then there's a bit, I think, where the scream becomes a shout. This song is all about this person trying to find their lover. And is it that there's a bit where they're saying, have I lost you in the crowd? So we're not quite sure if they've lost them in the crowd. And then there's a bit where it's like in a lonely town. So, I wanted that idea that, like almost like a ghost town. They're the only person in this town. So I love where songs, there are these different kind of dimensions of the song. When it came to record, and actually this is one of 2 or 3 songs that we had recorded prior to I'd record, but it's one, sorry, let me get that correct. This was one of the 3 songs that I'd written, 2 or 3 songs that I'd written before the Learn to Love, the title track. So I had this before I had the idea of the album. And I knew when it first came along that it was a good song. There was something about it. I really felt, oh, this is a good one. And then you're always waiting for the ideal time when you can record that song where it will fit with another collection of songs. Perhaps the other thing that, before we just hear a little bit about it, and please do listen to the whole album, or the whole track. But the other thing here was really interesting when we went into the recording studio, because you'll have an idea of how the song is going to sound in your head, but then it will evolve when you're in the recording studio, right? So when we're in the recording studio, working on it, putting down the keys and all of this kind of stuff, and it's got a nice blend of different sounds in it. And then we were just playing around things and we stumbled upon this kind of sample choral sound, this, oh yeah, oh yeah. And I usually don't put in any other additional vocals. If there's vocals, I'll put them on, my own lead vocals, my own backing vocals, or sometimes I might work with a song with another vocalist occasionally. So I'm not really one for pre-recorded vocal sounds. But this simple oohs and ahs, it had something very powerful and profound. We just landed on it and it just added to the intensity of the song. And so that's what you'll hear on the final song. So that's Where Are You, My Lover? Let's hear a little bit of it right now.
Where are you, my lover, for the clock is ticking down? Where are you, my lover, for the time is running out? Where are you, my lover, oh, the silence is a shout? Where are you, my lover, have you lost me in the crowd? Where are you, my lover, in my tears I nearly drowned? Where are you, my lover, in my heart there is a sound? Where are you, my lover, your vibration I feel now? Where are you, my lover, in this soulless crowded town? Where are you, my love, where are you, my love? In this homeless heart I don't know what to do without you.
So the third song on the album is Music Saved My Life. Music Saved My Life. And I think many people probably can identify with this, that music, music, this stuff, music. saved their life or has played such a key part in their life, or they can't imagine life without music. So this song, Music Saved My Life, is all about that, really. It's about the key play that music plays. And I always loved this song, or for a long time I've loved that Elton John song, Someone Saved My Life Tonight. I think that's such a beautiful song. Painful song, a beautiful song, and and there's songs, aren't there, like Last Night, a DJ Saved My Life. So there's lots of songs about the importance of music in one's life. And so, you know, this song is really about that. You know, it's about how I think, particularly as an artist, that music is so part of who you are. And there are times where, you know, it's the go-to, it's the only thing that will do, and it can seem like a strange sentiment, but it's powerful. It's kind of profound. There's so many times you feel lonely, so many times you feel afraid. When you're feeling lost and low, turn on the music to make you happy and take the pain away. And how many people do that? You know, they go to, I certainly know in my teens, you know, when I was young and trying to find my way in the world, and so on. And when I'd be feeling low, you know, the music would be my go-to, and particularly kind of sad songs. I'd love it. You know, lots of people think, oh, sad songs, no point in something happy. No, I'd see the beauty in really being with the songs, the love songs, the lost songs, and the heartbreak songs when you're feeling low. I'm going to those, but equally, you know, when you're feeling buoyant and so on, going to the up-tempo songs. So, you know, that's what Music Saved My Life is about, and its emotion and its expression, emancipation, all of those things. And the video was fun to record, and I felt once we'd recorded this song that Music Saved My Life for me was the obvious lead single for it. And the video was one of the first one. I mean, a couple of videos prior to that I had credit as directing, but really, this one is the first one really that in practical terms that I was really the director of. And I watched that video back now and I'm like, okay, there were bits of it I really liked, but the things I could have improved. So that, you know, with this album, after recording the album, putting together the videos, and first of all I wasn't intending actually to have any videos to accompany this album, but then I thought, okay, no, we could give it some visual representation. So doing the video for this one was a lot of fun. So maybe that's a really good cue to play the video.
Music saved my life, you know. More than once or twice it's been more than love and comfort to me. Music saved my life. Music saved my life, you know. And 1,000 times it's worth more than gold. All in all, music saved my life.
Next up on the album is a track called The Dance. Now, the dance was such fun throughout the whole process. First of all, I, you know, as an artist, I'm inspired by all sorts of things, as I said at the top of this kind of documentary, by all sorts of music, different types of music, and throughout, you know, just throughout time, I just love music in all of its different types. And so one day I was listening to this song and it was so funky. It was such a funky track, and I love to dance. I love to music and I love dancing, right, as well as singing. And this song just had such and I love the drums and the drum breaks and all of that kind of stuff. So this track had this, and I was like, okay, I need to have something maybe that has a little bit more of that going on. And so I was on this music kind of resource, and I found this kind of drum break. And I usually leave that kind of side of the creative process to kind of join in a way, or when we're in the studio together, we'll find the kind of sounds, the drums and all of that kind of stuff. But in this case, I'd kind of found this kind of drum break, and I thought, oh, this might well work. And then I wrote over it quite a simple I wrote quite a simple kind of, almost like a bluesy vibed, almost like a bluesy kind of really simple, like flowing kind of melody over it. And I liked it because then you had this raw drum break and then this really kind of raw vocal thing. So, and I wanted the song to have that rawness right to it. And then we went to the studio, we worked on it, we kind of messed around with the beats, we brought in other sounds, but still gave it a rawness. I vocalized some sounds to give it that edge and that rawness to it as well. But maybe also what's really interesting saying here is, I wonder what you think this track is about. Be interesting what you think this song, The Dance, is about, because sometimes in life you think that something is about one thing and then it becomes about something else. And I love when music does that. So the story in the song, you think, okay, I think I know what this is about. And the story seems to start off in one place. Okay, tell me what your name is, and da-da-da-da, and then this, and then that. And the song goes down various different avenues. And it ends up somewhere completely different. So, and I like that about life. I like that about music. I like that because that makes it fun for a listener, where the listener's like, okay, this is an interesting kind of a story. So it's a nice little kind of almost like a fable-y story about life. The dance. The video was great to do because I decided, okay, well, it's called The Dance and it's got a kind of a funky sound. Let's give this track I thought to myself, let's give it a dancey kind of style of video. So we did that, and that was really, really good fun to do. And maybe that's enough of me talking about it. Maybe what we'll do now is show you some of the video. So enjoy the video and and post your comments below the video of what you think about it.
Tell me what your name is. I wanna dance. Show me how you play it. I'll show you the dance. If you hold me in the morning, in the evening, and the night, I'll show you how to love me, then you'll always do it right. Tell me what you want, yeah. We're gonna dance, and the rhythm said, yeah. Yeah, ooh, yeah. Take me where you live, yeah. I'll show you the dance. Take me where you're going, yeah. I'll teach you the dance. If you love me in the morning, in the evening.
Okay, so the next song on the album is called Waiting for Love to Come. Waiting for Love to Come, and it begins with these words. My life's been long, short, closed and open. My life's been long, short, closed and open. And I realized that lyric was about me. Now, you might think, well, you're the songwriter, so that's going to be the case. But sometimes with lyrics, sometimes when you're a writer of songs, some lyrics very much relate to you. Some are kind of abstract. Some of them are kind of very, very, very universal. But I loved this lyric when it came along. And it's very true to me. My life's been long, yes, I'm a certain age. Short because time goes really fast. Closed and open. Well, closed is the private side, and open because I'm a coach, I'm a speaker, I'm out working with people all the time and so on. And you'll have this often with lots of creators, where there are these different kind of dimensions and almost kind of contradictions or different just dimensions to who it is that they are. So I like that about that. And do listen to the song, see what you think about it. I think the thing that I would say about this song, the only other thing I want to say about this song is that the recording process of this was difficult because unlike Learn to Love, that came about really quite easily, and some of the songs came along quite easily. I think Waiting for Love to Come was most difficult. Was one of the most difficult, and I think it's one that at certain points I thought, oh, is it going to survive to be on the album? Because I was just trying to find the right feel, tempo, instrumentation for this. Because yes, it could be just done in a very slow ballad kind of way, but I wanted to have a little bit more of a punch, a kick to it. it kind of crossed my mind. And when I play it at home, it has a kind of a little bit of movement, and I always love that kind of movement that Madness's cover of Labby Sifri's It Must Be Love kind of has. So when I was working on this in the studio, I was kind of playing it to John with a little bit of a bounce to it, and then I would kind of did this to it and do that to it, and we did various bits of treatments to it. And then when I get to this point with the song and I'm not quite sure what's going to happen, I'll kind of strip the song down and so on. So it has a mixture of different feels to it. The final version to it, you can kind of sense the ballad, but it's got this kind of a rhythmic bit to it. It's almost got a disco-y thing to it as well. It's a bit of a hybrid. So, that happens sometimes in the recording process, because you never quite know where a song or recording the song is going to take you. Some of them are very, very easy to land, and some of them are far more tricky. This was one of the most tricky ones on the album, but one of the things I'm happy with is a number of people said to me, hey, that's one of my favourite songs on the album. It's one of the ones that, for me, I have to re-find my connection to this particular song, and that often happens with an album, that there's some songs that you personally have your own personal connection to once you've recorded it, and others that it takes a while for you to come back to find your own connection to that song. And I think with this song, I think I need to take a little bit of time, play it again myself, so I can reconnect to it as a singer-songwriter. So that's Waiting for Love to come.
My life's been long, short closed and open. The great unknown is the deepest love. While this pain I'm blessed each day, you can't get away from that. Am I the only one? Am I the only one? The tree that grows alone. Am I the only one waiting for love to come?
Next up, How Many? And How Many is essentially a protest song. It's a song about the world that we live in. It has a very different feel and vibe to almost everything else on the album. It is a song about equality, it's a song about equity, it's a song about Black Lives Matter, it's a song about disability rights, it's a song about women's rights, it's a song about everybody who feels in some way, shape or form as though that they do not have a voice. That's what the song How Many is about. And this song just kind of came around, and it was during the time of the Black Lives Matter movement. It's not, well, of course, that's been an ongoing movement. I mean, that's as old as time in many, many ways. But it was a particular time where we had seen many counts of deep injustice, and many, many counter situations of violence toward particularly young black people. Just countless, and the list just goes on and on and on and on. And that's what the song really is about. How many people look like I. So the song has got a real edge to it. It is it's a very uncomfortable listen in some ways. Dum 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 dum. And then it opens up at some point. There's a lovely bit. It goes, the call is getting louder. It's coming from inside. Let's feel a little deeper. Compassion is light, one tree and many branches. The axe that isn't mine, the root, it holds the answer. Let go and live your life. And that's what the song is about. So, and then there's a powerful spoken part which talks about many, many of these injustices. I was quite proud of this song. It required, when we were recording it, the song required a lot of work to make sure that the spoken part of the song really, really worked. It required that energy of making sure that the sentiment wasn't lost, and that the passion and fire with which the song was written and was captured. Anyway, that's enough of me talking about it. Let's have a listen to a little bit of the song now. And I do really, really encourage, if you haven't heard the song, how many to perhaps have a listen to it on the album. So have a listen, and I'm going to play a little bit of it for you now.
Side, decades rolling by, parents cry, another child, and still we pay the price. How many of us must die? How many you look like how many you wasted lives? How many?
And maybe that leads us nicely on to the song Life. And the song Life, I'm fairly sure that the song Life was written immediately after Halfway Home. I'm fairly sure from my memory. I don't have the world's greatest memory, but I think that was the case. And, it starts off with a sound, this person walking through, and you hear the leaves, and it's got all of these different sound effects of voices and so on, and it begins with these words: life is for the living, but we're so scared to death, always fighting. Egos keep on coming, clever, cunning. Where's the kindness? So, and Life was actually written around that time. My mum had a very, very dear friend of hers, one of her childhood friends, in fact, was an old kind of like auntie to the family, and she passed away. And when I heard this news, the song Life came pretty immediately. I don't think many people know that about this song, but this song Life came pretty much immediately. And sometimes we're very lucky when songs like that will come along. And of course, so many songs are written in more difficult and more challenging circumstances. Yeah, so and it's got a jazzy feel to it. I think I'm playing most of the instrumentation on this, on the keyboards. It's got a kind of jazzy feel, so it allowed me to pull together both my kind of the poppy side of me and the more jazzy side of me. Yeah, I love it. Life and Halfway Home are two of my personal favourites on this album. And the sounds that you'll hear on Life, there's various sounds, like you can hear maybe in the background here, you can hear kids laughing and crying or what have you. The song's got various different sound effects, and I just kind of sampled them when I was on my travels, and I like that to give the song an authentic element, as though it is about life. So yeah, Life.
So scared to death, always fighting. Egos keep on coming, clever, cunning. Where's the kindness?
faces, some I never see again. They say that life is short, it's such a rush, but never hurry. I've had some friends who've gone who should have not. I'm halfway home. I'm halfway home to you. The album was going to either be called Learn to Love or Halfway Home as soon as Halfway Home was written. And this Halfway Home song is about this character who's halfway home. You know, they're halfway home. You know, we never know how much time we have on the clock, right? But maybe there comes a point where you realize like you're halfway through that whole experience of life. But halfway home, is that what it meant, or is halfway home about something far more? Is it somebody on their way home to meet their partner, their lover? Maybe they've been away. And that's why that I'm halfway home to you is that they're halfway home to their maker or what have you. I love when songs have got differing potential meanings for different people, because it allows the listener a way into the songs, like this halfway home. You never know it. Life will teach you all you know. I've seen the highs and lows, all comes and goes, but we're still grabbing. Some play the hating game, some sit and wait. I'm halfway home to you. I love this song. And when we went to recording it in the studio, John plays this incredible guitar solo. And when I listen to the final version of it, it makes me think of... it makes me feel as like not that I've been there to the American Midwest. It has this feeling of space, this kind of expanse. That's what I wanted from this particular song. I wanted for people to be able to just dissolve into the song, and for this song, for them to go into their own space, their own inner space with this song. And I'm really proud of this song. I'm really, really proud of this song. And this is a really good musical marriage of my work and John's work, because you've got a lot of me playing on the keyboards and so on, and then John's amazing guitar. I'm very, very proud of Life Halfway Home.
So many faces, some I'll never see again. They say that life is short, it's such a rush, but never hurry. I've had some friends who've gone who should have not. I'm halfway home. I'm halfway home to you, to you.
So one of the tracks on the album that has a slightly different vibe is the song Passion, Love and Fire. It wouldn't be a song about love without a song about romance and attraction and desire and all the pain and the highs and lows of life and connecting and relationships and all of that involved. So this song is about that, passion, love and fire. And actually then after Passion, Love and Fire is meditation, medication, but we'll get to that later. But Passion, Love and Fire is one of the more playful songs, more upbeat songs on the album, which is good. It does that bit too. So, you know, it wouldn't be an album about love in all of its colours and dimensions without it talking about those themes of attraction, fun, desire, play, and so on. But also it wouldn't be a rounded album without some of the more up-tempo songs. Funny enough, Music Saved My Life is one of those up-tempo songs. The Dance is one of those up-tempo songs, and so is Passion, Love and Fire. And Passion, Love and Fire has got a bit of a playful, cheeky element to it, and that's nice. It gives a nice balance to the album. It was quite fun to do. It was one of those, you know, the recording process of this was also quite interesting, because sometimes when you're recording songs, all sorts of different ideas come along. I wanted it to have this funky, particularly toward the outro. I wanted it to have a kind of a funky, soul-y kind of edge to it, but I also wanted it to be poppy and a little bit dancey, and I wanted it to be a little bit of a rocky edge to it too. There was a song, I've forgotten what it's called, that I really, really like, that's got it's got a rock edge to it, but it's got a funkiness and a poppiness to it. And I like that. And I like lots of interestingly, I think maybe it's a good point to say that my musical taste is really, really, really broad. My musical ear is really, really broad. So I love soul, I love pop, I love jazz, I love a bit of metal, I love a little bit of rock, I love some folk, I love a bit of classical. I've got a really broad ear. Music wherever there's music with emotion, you name it, I can enjoy it. Reggae, whatever, everything. You just name the genre, and sometimes we've got to a point where actually so many genres kind of blend. You name it. That I can enjoy songs with it. For me, it's about the songs, it's about the emotion, and so on. And so I think that a good struggle here was kind of getting some of that sensibility of from the pop to the kind of funk and the little bit of rock on this track. But see what you think about it. But it's fun, and it's. I think when I'd finished recording the album, I was like, sometimes you're not quite sure how strong you feel a song is. And, once you finish recording an album, also what's really important is that it's no longer, your business is to record it. Your job is to create this kind of work, and to let it be and let it breathe. What people feel about that's none of my business. So it's about then others. And then it's really interesting when some people say, oh, I like this song, or I like that song, and see what you think of it, what you make of it. Enjoy.
They say that love is a language. Our body's talking again. The heart is hungry and pounded. Passion's rushing ahead. Oh, yeah. Oh, call me what you want. Let's scream my name. It is passion, love, and fire. It's joy and pain. It is fire. Passion, love, and it's fire. It's fire. It's fire. It's passion, love, and it's fire. It's fire.
So next up, meditation, medication. Meditation, medication's what you need. Medication, certainly. Breathe.
Meditation, medication's what you need. Meditation, medication, certainly.
So Meditation Medication is one of those songs that I had written prior to this album. And I always had an idea of doing an album, and maybe I will at some point still record an album that has that is about meditative music, right? Soothing kind of meditative sounds and songs and that kind of thing. Maybe I'll still do it. So this song was from an album with that kind of intention, that it was going to have this meditative feeling, inviting people into this space of deep meditation, contemplation. And I first of all thought, well, this song isn't going to work on this album. But then I suddenly realized that it was, because there gets a point, isn't there, where we're wanting to kind of unburden ourselves. We need to let go of all of the things that have been kind of holding us back, and we need to just pause, and we need to just breathe, we need to reconnect, don't we? We need to just be and breathe. And on this album where this person's been experiencing all of these different aspects of love, and I think just before it is passion, love and fire, so there's all of that stuff of learning to love, yearning for love, waiting for love, all of the other elements of love and how many and all of this stuff, and the clutter and the challenges of life. And then you get to this medication's what you need. Medication certainly. Breathe. And so it takes us in a completely different space. Yeah, let's enjoy the video.
Breathing in.
I'm the light and the love.
Yeah. Breathing on.
I let go of the pain, the hurt, and the hate.
Breathing in.
I breathe in life and love.
Breathing on.
I let go of the fear and the pain.
Breathing out.
Now I'm going to say a little bit about the song Compassion Road. This song came to me, I was at the keyboards, and this song came to me, and I think what I'm going to do is just play you a little bit about this song. I'm going to get my keyboards, and I'm going to get home, I'm going to put the keyboards out, and I'm going to play you a little bit of Compassion Road. And I think there I'll tell you the story of how Compassion Road first of all came about, and then we'll also share a little bit of the video of Compassion Road, so you can find out how it's written, and then we can discover a little bit about how it ended up sounding. Let's do that. Okay, so Compassion Road just came along. I can't tell you how it came along. You know, no musicians can really tell you how and where certain songs come along from. They just come along, and we are the fortunate beneficiary from when that happens. So I don't know if I had a little bit of a melody that came into my mind, and then I came to the keyboard, and I'm not a talented keyboardist at all. I'm a rudimentary player. I can't play anything else apart from my own songs, and I can only find the basic chords of my songs. But I trust that process, and Compassion Road came along like this. I just followed the chords. I'm the hurt and deserted, I'm the lost and found, I'm the open and hearted, I'm love all around. I'm the night and the light never ending when you're all so alone. I'm the safety and shelter. Lead me on, 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 lead me on.
Lead me on Compassion Road. I live on Compassion Road. All I live for and all I know, love lives on Compassion Road. Find me on Compassion Road.
It's the very last song on the album is called New Way to Love, and it's got this very easy, lazy feel to it as a track. It's a friend of mine who, my friend Marshall, is a singer-songwriter and has his own label, Determined Records, that put this album out. You know, said to me, you know, it almost feels as though this song doesn't belong on this album, and I like that, because it's almost as though it's where the person's moved to a whole different space. It's almost as though it's like it's otherworldly. You know, that's my take on it. It's got a completely different kind of vibe to it than everything else. And this idea, this new way to love beyond time. body, spirit, mind, matters, space and time, body, spirit, mind. It is very much the kind of at the awakening end of the material. So this song and meditation, medication have got a relationship as songs, but it's just about this new way of loving, a new way of being. I guess that's the link between the music and the work that I do as a coach, as a speaker. How is it that we can be and show up with kindness and compassion and with heart and so on? And so the music's always been about life and love, but this song asks that question. It's a new way of love. So I invite you to just sit with that. New way. And that's what music can do, isn't it? It can invite us to look at things anew.
There's a new way to love beyond mine. Such a new way to love beyond tears.
Okay, so here we are at the end of this documentary. Wow, it's been undertaking. It's been quite an undertaking. It's been a joy. It's been a real pleasure. Thank you so much for watching this. If you managed to get through it, I hope you've enjoyed it. I just want to say a few very, very, very quick thank yous. I want to say a big thank you to everybody, first and foremost, who's listened to any of my music at any time. I'm so, so grateful. I'm so touched by that. I want to say a big thank you to John Hamilton, my long-term collaborator, without whom the last however many albums have been there. John's been absolutely outstanding and amazing. I want to say a big thank you to Martin, who I've also collaborated with on music and who's been behind so many of my music videos over the years. I want to say a big thank you from Marshall, way back from the early years in terms of music, right through to helping bring the music, helping share it through Determined Records. And I want to say a big thank you to Steve Byrne, lots of the cover designs and the cover art, including for this album. I want to say a big thank you to Ajamu too, for lots of the cover art over the years, including for the cover for this. I want to say a big thank you to Kevin and Arnold and Paul Hobbs for all the early days in terms of music. It's been really, really inspiring. I want to just say a big thank you to so many people, friends, family. There's just far too many people to be able to list here. It's been a real joy, and it's been a real pleasure. And maybe last thanks is to all those artists who've inspired me over the years, and so many of who you'll never know. You may never ever watch this, you may never hear it, but that's a whole different story, and maybe there'll be more about that, and there might be more music around that to come. I just want to say thank you again, everybody, and thank you from me, and thank you for enjoying Learn to Love. Take care. Bye-bye.
Celebrate love, celebrate it, celebrate love, celebrate it, celebrate it while we can, while we can, all we have, we gotta celebrate all we have, breathing out, breathing in, letting go of the pain, breathing out, breathing in, let the new life begin. Breathing out, breathing in, letting new life begin. Breathing out, breathing in, letting go. There's a new way to love beyond time. Such a new